So last Tuesday was the birthday of Christopher Eccleston, and we had Dr. Bryn on. And we didn't want to lose that opportunity to have an interview with Dr. Bryn. So today we're going to be celebrating his birthday and his upcoming performance in Big Finish Audio's Christopher Eccleston, the Ninth Doctor on Doctor Who, as we talk about his favorite moments. So you get to be part of the situation. You get to be part of the discussion and talk about Giving Me One Moment with 9. When we return, folks, please, Whovians, stand by. We're coming up right now. My name is Christian Basil. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a TARDIS. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is the legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend. Dear God, I'm going to regret this episode, aren't I? Melanie's not here to keep me in check. Hey, gang, I just want to also make sure, let you know, Krypton Radio is now sci-fi.radio. They changed over just recently. So if you hear about Krypton Radio, they are now sci-fi radio.com. Today, our discussion is going to be about, again, Christopher Eccleston, the Ninth Doctor, and our favorite moments. Give me one moment with 9. And I've got a lot of friends who are going to help me out over here. Dear God, I think I'm in trouble. Here we go. Here they are. Let me introduce all my friends out here and folks who are joining us. We do have a YouTube channel. Now, if you want to join us over there, go ahead and just search for The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS on the YouTube channel. Make sure you hit subscribe and that little notification bell so that you can get the new material as well as help support us on the YouTube channel. We're trying to get up to 1,000 and we're just a little less than halfway there. So help us out on our YouTube channel. Go to The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS on YouTube, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And welcome again to The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Some of these folks you may be familiar with if you've joined us before. Some of them are not. Let me introduce you to each one of them. First, ladies first. We're going to start with Mr. Brian K. Morris. How you doing, Brian?
I'm well, and I'm glad you recognize my innate femininity. I'll take first billing any chance I can get it, Christian. But anyway, thank you for having me 2 weeks in a row. I don't know what Christian was thinking. But anyway,
I don't know either.
It's going to be a long hour for you. Hi, Willis Tyler. Hello, Matthew. I'm taking over the show. Anyway, I'm Brian K. Morris of Rising Tide Publications. We do books. We do all kinds of things. Also, I'm told I'm the head of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, never mind the furthermore, an interactive talk show where we have creative conversation and coffee and clever title pending. That's on after this show. So please come over and watch us. We're going to have the great Bobby Nash, great novelist and comic book writer and all-around great guy on the show tonight, and we're going to have a lot of fun, and we welcome your questions. And thank you, Christian, for having me on. I'll try not to embarrass Amy Hale too much.
No, that's impossible. But I'm going to introduce our 3 new guests who haven't been here before, and I want to talk about the Rising Tide Publications. First of all, I want to say hello to Billy Floyd. I haven't seen him in a while, and he does Kitchen Killers. So if you like a good band who does title music, I think that's how you can remember. They do title covers. Is that if that's what I'm saying? They do title covers, and plus they do this all in everybody's kitchen, and it's free. You can check them out on their Facebook. Kitchen Killers. Kitchen Killers out there. And there's Meredith. She's got her little link. You should watch this on their YouTube channel. Yeah, just subscribe or search The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS on YouTube. Brian, can you tell us a little bit about the Rising Tide Rising Tide Network, right?
The Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Yes, thank you, Christian. It is a group of like-minded broadcasters who are banding together to increase, basically our viewership and to give each other mutual support in rising and advancing in our careers. And I'm pleased to say that Amy Hale is a member of this August group, as is Nicholas Anthony Tucker. Got to remember which part of the Hollywood Squares I'm at here. And but anyway, we've got about a dozen shows now, and we involve everything from creative conversation, like I said, interviews, how-tos, creative sword play, great celebrity interviews, even cigars and watches, and all kinds of good stuff on there. We have a lot of variety, a lot of enthusiasm, and I'm just so happy that we've got this thing going. And Christian, I do want to thank you publicly, in all seriousness, for your support of our venture. You've been very helpful to us, and I just want the world to know that despite the fact that you and I fight like we've been married for 20 years,
we are. It feels like it.
It took some days, yeah, I'm sure. But anyway, we want to thank you and all of your audience for supporting our humble ventures, and hope they'll subscribe to our YouTube channels as well. I have one, Amy has one, Nicholas has one, and give some love to Christian for hosting this party.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. And Sherry A. Clausen, why would we regret this? It's not that we're talking about Christopher Eccleston, Sherry. It's that I have my friends here tonight who are going to be talking about Christopher Eccleston. After Blink, my favorite Doctor Who episode are The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances. Well, we're going to be talking about that in just a few moments there. Thank you for joining us, Sherry. Speaking of no regrets, the lovely Miss Amy Hale. How you doing, Amy? Welcome to the...
Good, thanks. How are you?
Hey, Ragin. Not bad. And welcome there. Tell us a little bit about what you do. You are an author. You have a podcast as well. Everybody's got a podcast. My goodness. Everybody get off my lawn.
Well, I am an author, and I write mostly paranormal, such as I have a Shadows trilogy that's award-winning. Mm-hmm. I also write for the Havenwood Falls world, and I'm writing my first thriller. I also have a show on YouTube called Creative as Hale, where my husband and I enjoy having these wonderful, deep chats with creatives of all types. We have authors, we have musicians lined up this year, we have actors, you name it. We've got artists, so we've got a good lineup of creative people that'll let you just kind of pick their brain and tell us how they got started and hopefully inspire others to get started.
Gotcha. And also with the Rising Tide Network is Nick Tucker. Now, let's continue on there.
You know what?
There you go.
See myself out.
Go ahead.
Hello, folks. I'm Nick Tucker with the Historical Fencing Guild. I've been teaching people to sword fight regardless of handicap, disability, or finances. I wrote The Simple Sword, available through Amazon, and I created the Big Stompy Robots line of games. Basically, I have this crazy idea that fun things should be cheap, approachable, and able to get into your hands fast to get it done without any gatekeeping or confusion.
I run a prom night.
And I was thinking of you, Christian.
I would give you the stick figure manual, Christian, but I'd probably get in trouble for it. But yeah, every Friday night at 8/7 Central, I do a live stream talking about how to sword fight, acquire goods, and how to bring it to the people who want to learn it without having to pay an arm and a leg, because I hate gatekeepers.
Gotcha. And we're coming back, some of our original team, James Enstall from Geek to Me Radio. How you doing there, James? How's it going there?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on again. I appreciate it.
I see the TARDIS and the Deadpool on the same shelf, and I'm geeking out really hard about this.
Yes. I reached up to grab my book just in case we were going to talk about.
Oh, wow!
Great book. If no one's read it yet, it's all about his struggles with body image and all the stuff he went through that you wouldn't have never known by seeing his performances. But really good, really impactful book.
Now, does he talk about Doctor Who in there?
He does a little bit. Yeah, he
little bit.
Go into it extensively, but he talks about his roles in G.I. Joe and Thor, a lot of the stage work he did, getting into acting school, a lot about stuff with his mom and dad growing up and how he kind of got to where he was. It's a lot to do with his relationship with his father, but really well written, and just it's parts of it are heartbreaking. Other times you're laughing out loud.
Okay. And without further ado, our final guest tonight, Dr. Free himself, Brian Barres. How you doing there, Brian?
I'm hanging in there. How you all doing tonight?
All right. We're surviving. I think that was a question for everybody, and I was the only one who answered. So
we're trying to give you your stream for a while.
Oh, okay. And
I was just thinking, sword fighting. It's like there's something that could literally cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah, exactly. There is a coming cost there. And Angela Sahim, who says, Christian, come cover Pensacon. You have a place to stay on the Gulf Coast. I might take advantage of that situation. I thought Pensacon was always at the beginning of the year, but hey, we'll check it out over there. All right, folks. Without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about Christopher Eccleston and our favorite scenes. But first, I want to show you the photos from I think it's Perseverance. The photos from Mars came in just recently. So this is very exciting. So hang tight. Let me go ahead and click on it. Let me get I'm sorry. That's not the photo that I was hoping for Mars. I'm sorry. My bad about there. So we'll continue. This is the photo. There we go.
Does Mr. Garibaldi know?
Yeah, I don't know. So we'll get to the photos eventually there, but we'll start with ladies first. And Miss Amy Hale, you have explained to us the scene that you picked, which actually was not on my list. If I had a top 10 list, this is not on my top 10 list. But tell us the scene that you picked of your one moment with 9.
I love how quirky the Doctor is.
Yes.
I mean, every Doctor's so great, but Eccleston really nails the quirkiness. So I love that, and the name of the episode escapes me, but it's where he takes Rose to see the end of the Earth.
The end of the end of the world. The end of the world. I couldn't.
Yeah. So he takes her there, and all these special guests are coming in, and they're in this, the big room, and they're exchanging gifts. And of course, he's thinking, I don't have a gift. And the trees people come to him, and he's just, the whole, I give you the, yes, this one, I give you the breath from my lungs. And I'm just like, okay, this is thinking on your feet right here.
That's, and I just never would have picked this one, but I do love the quirkiness of it. I like the silliness to show the Doctor out there. But this is your one moment there. Everybody, thoughts on what Amy picked out there as far as air from my lungs?
Ooh, how intimate.
Remember, I think we're done here. Brian said it all. Okay. Go ahead, Nick. Oh
no, Nick, that's the okay. That's the wonderful absurdity and the creativity of the Doctor. For a man who lives in a box, he exists outside of every box, and that's what makes him so grand. The disconnect between him and societal norms of any way, shape, or form. He's just out there, and he makes it work, almost fueled entirely by sincerity. It's that whole, you can make any magic possible if you believe hard enough. And that seems to be like what fuels everything the man does. Right. And that's sort of the well-fought you get. For Eccleston was, later on the Doctor shows all these great powers, Mm-hmm. But with him, it's a very slow, peeling reveal later in the episode with the fan, where he crosses. It's just the ability to think that way. So yeah, I totally get where you would pull that, because it's so indefinable, but like you label it the Doctor and it makes sense.
I think it's a testament to Chris as far as his acting is concerned, and as far as Russell T. Davies throwing the writing in there, that encapsulates the Doctor. He doesn't have a gift. He doesn't care. Well, you know what? I didn't bring anything. There we go. So I think that's just brilliant, between brilliant writing, brilliant acting that Christopher brought to it, and you could tell he had some fun with there. And we want to welcome the Spacebook, Dan Hadley, and check out the Spacebook on the YouTube channel as well. Chris's performance is so rich. There's a wealth of moments to choose from to suit any mood. Great Amy, great pick, Amy. There, I think, like I said, it's not that it was a bad pick. There are tons of great moments when it comes to 9. the thing is that it just wasn't in my top 10. It wouldn't be in my arsenal. But now that you've mentioned it, I kind of do like it out there. That would be an interesting take out there. Speaking of an interesting take, let's go clockwise. Mr. Talkert, what did you pick?
I had to pick, and I actually had to stop to rewatch it. The scene from When the Doctor Dances, where he's convinced her to embrace her son, and he's coming on, and there's this moment where time sort of slows down, and he says, "Just this once. Just give me this once." And he pulls off the mask. "Just this once, nobody died." And that is because that's the encapsulating of what makes the Doctor different. Every other hero in almost every other genre is measured by the enemies they defeat, by the darkness they quell, or whatever violence they do. For the Doctor, who's seen every imaginable sorrow, probably the most tragic hero in modern writing, a mythology of himself, he has this one crystalline moment where there's real hope. And it's not grand, it's not broadcast across the universe, it's on this little dirt water world we call home.
Right.
But that's what the Doctor wants. That's why his name, that's why the War Doctor couldn't be the Doctor. Because he wants to heal, he wants to bring together. And no other hero of the time, real world time, was like that, because his greatest strength and his greatest weakness is that he cares on a fundamental, self-destructive level. His universe would be so much easier if he just didn't give a dang, but he cares, and for that horrible price, he spends eternity burning, save for that one moment in that one incarnation.
I know.
So to me, I'm an old fan from the original all the way back. You know, I grew up watching The Doctor on PBS.
Yes.
And that is the one moment at the time, 40 years, whatever years of a character existing, where he found happiness. Not like the love of another, but that there was hope. And I think that the ripples are that, because of the nature of the Doctor being nonlinear, rippled out. And every hope he has, every time that he goes out and tries to do the impossible, is because of the cadence from that single crystal clear moment. So that will always be, Baker was my Doctor.
Right.
Everybody has one. But Eccleston was, in that moment, I knew Eccleston got it more than any other moment. He understood what the Doctor was. And I may think that that's been lost in some other incarnations and other times. It gets lost in the fury of the Doctor or the arrogance of the Doctor. But the bittersweet sorrow, the love of sentience and hope as an entity, that is what the Doctor I'm most passionate about, and that is his pristine moment.
Gotcha. We're on a hard break there, Nick. I'm going to continue on. I do have a thought process on this. When we continue, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and become part of the legend. And don't forget to chat with us on our YouTube channel. For our friends on Wizard World page, thank you for joining us. For our friends at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, wherever you're watching us on sci-fi.radio, thank you for joining us there, folks. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we're going to continue our discussion with our Moment of 9.
Bateman.
What's the Bateman?
A novel set in Florida, written by Florida author D.L. Havlin. Suspense, mystery, and murder.
Evidence is in the bait.
The Bateman is available at local bookstores and online.
Author Cindy Kepp is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kepp at CKOEPP
Amazon.com today.
Jackie Sonnenberg's My Soul to Keep is a ghost story rooted in the realities of actual cults. When 13-year-old Sky Monroe arrives at her new boarding school, all she can think about is death and connecting with the afterlife. Soon she discovers her school's spirituality group, the Guardians of Light, and they have a secret. They can speak with the dead, and the organization is a cult. But this isn't Sky's only problem. The campus house where Sky resides is haunted, and even the ghosts have an agenda. They intend on getting the souls they want. Filled with mystery and intrigue plucked straight from the headlines, author Jackie Sonnenberg's research and attention to detail give this ghost story an even more eerie atmosphere. Find My Soul to Keep on Amazon.com today.
And again, if you're watching us on the Facebook, the YouTube, on Twitch, wherever you're watching us, don't thank us. Thank our friends at Geek Insider, geekinsider.com. Subscribe today.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.
Oops. Hey, folks, welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. Again, we're talking about our discussion of Christopher Eccleston moments. Gimme One Moment with 9. And here are all my friends, Amy, Nick, James, Brian, and the other Brian, Dr. Freedom himself. Welcome back over there. And Nick, I actually wanted to add to your comment out there. When Russell T. Davis mentioned that he was going to put more heart into it, like they were going to be more like a Buffy. They were going to bring it up over there. I think that was one of the things that he had mentioned when he brought into the heart of it, with all the people that he's lost over time, all the way going back to his first life, all the way up until then, and including that we know the expounding of the Time War. Now we kind of realize in that moment that he would say something like that. It's just like, just this once, give me this. Anything else, I've lost everybody else over there, but just this one moment, I want this kid to survive and everybody at this train station to survive and not get bombed out there. But I could see where you were going with that over there. Does anybody have any other thoughts about that choice that Nick brought up?
Well, I'd like to amplify on the Christopher Eccleston's performance itself. Of all the Doctors, I think he has the most visible thread of darkness in him, aside from maybe John Hurt, who's actually in the heart of the Time War then. But, you can tell this is a man who's carrying all these scars from all the things he had to do. And Eccleston brings it out brilliantly so far in that season and beyond. But in this one moment, just like Nick picked a great moment of just unbridled joy. And happiness, just give me this one day. And it's one of those, many moments in the Eccleston catalog that, it chokes me up at times to watch that, to see a person who's basically his existence has become kind of relentlessly grim. Right. With all of his responsibilities and being the final Time Lord, that he gets this one moment. It's like Christmas morning for a 6-year-old, and he's reveling in it. And I think Eccleston pulls that performance off magnificently. And then he slips back into, his normal mode, but, maybe not quite as dark as he was before with some exceptions, but, just a great performance on Christopher Eccleston's part, really.
But I could see the... Oh, go ahead, Amy. I'm sorry. Go for it.
No, I was just going to say, I also love this moment, especially because it seems like the Doctor is always just almost on time to save some of these people in every episode. There's something that he's almost there. And this time, even though the changes were already happening, he was able to reverse it. And I love, like I said, how joyous he is that, oh my gosh, for once, I'm not too late.
Right. And not only that, but you could see the buildup. I mean, you could see that all of his previous lives kind of impacted there, that it finally came to this moment in his life of like, you know what? I've just been through death a billion times over. I want this moment. Just this time. Thank you. It happened there. Go ahead, Nick. I see you raising your hands.
Sorry, the neurology. My hand's spazzing a little more than normal.
No,
the thing about it is, this also almost immediately follows the Dalek episode.
Yeah.
So you can't look this in a complete We saw Eccleston take himself to what arguably is the darkest incarnation of the Doctor. It may not be the most effective. He didn't do like Matt Smith's horrors later. I mean, the Wrath of the Doctor stuff, but you saw this absolute darkness in you're right, where he came so close to being a perfect avatar of everything a Dalek represents, to ascend back up in so short a time, dramatically, to the peak of everything he ever hoped to be.
Yeah.
I think it's more than just a positive travel. You have to see the absolute distance travel both by the character and by Eccleston. I've always described Eccleston as PTSD Baker. And that's what came out the first time I saw him, before I knew about the Time War.
But he was in the Time War. He was part of the Time War, so we can understand why he even has PTSD.
Yeah,
I mean, literally.
I had said it flippant, but he literally does, and he pulls. I've been around real veterans and real people with that sets of problems, and you feel that off of him, that raw, authentic. And even though he's arrogant, the Doctor is an inherently arrogant character. He has to believe he can change the universe.
Right.
He doesn't have that sociopathic where the universe is about the Doctor. You know? He's still... Eccleston's Doctor is this free radical, defiantly doing things without it always being about him. And I think that you lose that later on. And the Doctor's always been in a story without being the story. And I think that's what makes him so powerful, because he can zip in anywhere and pull out. And Eccleston did that better than anybody. So yes, I'm sorry, I'm prattling. This is something I'm passionate about.
No, I just heard zip in and pull out and lost my train of thought. Anyway, I want to welcome Nisha. Hey, Nisha from Diversity Geek. Check out Diversity Geek on the Facebook and the YouTube channel there. And I'm going to start Renee. Debbie, I love you. Oh, well, thank you. We're going to continue on out there. Speaking of Dalek, because I have no segue, Brian, tell us a little bit about the moment that you pick on Christopher Eccleston out there. And before you start, anybody who wants to chat with us, I want to thank you for joining us. You can do it on the YouTube channel, you can do it on Twitch, you can do it on the Facebook pages of either Wizard World or the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. But go ahead if you want to join into this chat there. Now go for it, Brian. I'm sorry. What moment did you pick out there?
Oh, no. And I will say as preamble that Christian and I went round and round about this, and I may have to see the graphic you chose for me if you did. So that's the one. The last two episodes of Eccleston's Doctor really stood out for me because, as I told Christian, this is where the Doctor truly reveals himself to be a badass, the most dangerous man in the universe. And we had a little tease of it at the start of this episode where the Doctor's trapped in the reality program, and he's outlining all the things he's going to do, and then he looks in the camera and tells his adversary, and then I'm coming from you. And then later on, it follows up in the Parting of the Ways, which I can mention later. But this is the moment where the Doctor just, to me, shows the incredible power of his being, where he is confronted. He thinks his companion is gone. He's tried to rig up a defense for Earth, and if he had 6 more months, he could do it. But he's only got like a minute and a half. And then he's talking to the big Kahuna Dalek, and the Dalek is telling him, "Stand down Earth's defenses, and prepare for our invasion." And he's going, "Nope, not gonna do it."
I love that banter, though. It is not only. There's some little comedic twist to it, too. And he goes, "No." And he goes, "What did you say?" Or something to the fact. He goes, "I said no." And he goes, "What's the meaning of this negative?" "It means no." I'm like,
did you not get this? Then he goes into the stuff he's going to do. Like,
exactly.
For my next amazing trick, I'm going to, stop your invasion, make sure you can never do it again, and then I'm going to blast every stinking Dalek out of the sky. Then he turns to Rose and says, "Hey, Rose, I'll see you in a minute." You know, and the Dalek is like, wait a minute, you don't have a ship, you don't have an army, you don't have a plan, you don't even have a plan. And the Doctor, in that moment, there just goes, yeah, scary, isn't it? And then it follows up in the Parting of the Ways, one of my favorite things where the Doctor is inside his force field and he's taunting the Daleks. You know, you guys are real brave when I got my force field out. And three of them wheel up, and one of them goes, "We are the Daleks. We have had fear, bred out of us on a genetic level." And he goes, "Oh, really? What do you remember? What do you know of the oncoming storm?" And they're like, "Well, that is a story told to children to frighten them at bedtime." And goes, "Oh, really? I am the Doctor," and all three start wheeling back as fast as they can. These and to me, those last two episodes are, these moments, these little tiny moments in the overall tapestry of the show. It's like, okay, what was the show about? Well, I'm sure I'll remember in a minute, but it's these little moments here where the Doctor becomes the most dangerous man in the universe, the last being you want to torque off. And this went on, I think, David Tennant did it to a lesser degree, but I think Matt Smith picked that up again. And one of my favorite utterances from the Doctor was like, "There's one thing you never put into a trap."
Right.
But you can call me back for the Matt Smith episode.
I would even go further, and this is the analogy I've used, because I will actually flash forward to the Pandoricus speech where he's standing on top of the rock. He's got all of his enemies out there. And the relation I put is to a Texas Hold'em game where all the cards are laid out. Not only are the cards laid out, he's got a 2/7 offsuit he's playing. He shows the bad guys he's playing, and he puts all of his chips in, and they still fold. They still, because they just don't know. They're just like, "How can you beat us? How do you know you have a better hand?" That's the kind of stuff I love about the documentary in that scene. He was throwing all the chips in. He knew he probably had a bad hand, but he used his reputation as a weapon. The same way that 11 was standing up on top of that stone. And he dared them. The best thing that he said, this is Moffat's writing, backing it up. Let somebody else try first. And what did they do? They all run off.
Exactly.
Like, no, we're not going to try that, because they know that he's played this hand before, and when they played the game, it's backfired on them. That's what I love about that moment there.
Yeah, and it's not enough that the Doctor knows that he is amazing, but his enemies hold him in that higher regard, that they verify that, this guy is going to come through if he's promising to do everything.
Right, and exactly.
Bless us all out of the sky, we're out of here.
The worst part about this, Amy, is the unknown. They don't know, but they know that he can do some damage with a 2/7 offsuit at any moment.
Exactly.
So, go for it, Nick. What you got?
Well, that was Smith's specialty. If you think what his first big foray is going back up, he's run the aliens off the planet. He goes, "What are you doing?" "I'm calling them back." What? Goes up onto the roof, and he goes, "Are the humans a threat to you?" "No." "Am I?" And you see, and that's one of those classic, because you see monsters nobody's talked about in 20 years scroll by on that big glowing eye. And he tells him, "I suggest you run." And the thing just warps out of there. I think Smith, but that's where you actually see the refinement. Because Eccleston always tried to play, like, he tried to give the plastic monster at the beginning of the very first arc a chance. Like, just shunt out of here. We don't have to do this. Eccleston always tried to give the everybody was a sentient in that Doctor. And by the time you get to Smith, he's almost sociopathic. Like, something between Tennant and Smith broke him. Worse, in my opinion, than the War Doctor, where he's like, "No, you've made yourself immortal at vast suffering. I'm dropping you in a sun. You're going to be assigned to the next one." Because he had played a few chips over what he could do, and I really think he metagamed to do that. And I don't know if that's too dark, if that's still what the Doctor should be about.
I see what you're saying, because when he gets finally, and I don't want to get too much into the other Doctors, I want to stay with Chris, but let me say this real fast. The 50th anniversary said it. It's the man who forgets. No, the man who regrets, and the man who forgets. And when you get to that point where he knows that he's going to go to Trenzalore, that all this is happening, he's like, WTF? What's left? I mean, I already know I'm going to end this, so let's end this on my note. On he's standing there like Frank Sinatra. I'm going to do this my way. So, speaking of doing this my way, we've got a commercial break. When we return, we're going to continue our discussion with our favorite moments with 9, Christopher Eccleston. And again, happy belated birthday. We did it last week, but happy belated birthday to Chris.
Hi, I'm Claudia Christian with some exciting updates in the Sinclair Method world. First of all, we launched our new coaching page. It's yoursinclairmethod.com. So you can go there and book a session with one of our fabulous coaches. You can also reach that page by visiting c3foundation.org. It's at the top of the landing page of the website. The second piece of news is Journeys is out. Woohoo! This book has been a long time in the making, and it is available in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your local bookstore, and there's a limited amount of signed copies at c3foundation.org. So, get your copy of Journeys now and visit the coaching page for some wonderful support. If you're on the Sinclair Method, you can book a session with a variety of different coaches. Take care and be well.
Alien invaders enslave Earth,
unleashing hunters into the ruined wastes.
One young survivor struggles to elude their monsters, clinging to hope.
When he's stolen off the planet by a sarcastic starship AI, they pit their uneasy alliance against a treacherous galaxy.
Explore a whole new verse of barbarism and betrayal.
Wonder and adventure.
In the Scion series.
By Michael J. Allen.
Beginning with Book 1, Scion Conquered Earth.
Available in print, ebook, and audio on Amazon.com.
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
Don't forget to check out our friends at Doctor Who Worlds Apart. That's doctorwho-worldsapart.com. I got my cards. I went ahead and got my cards because we're going to be playing a game of Worlds Apart online for our friends at Worlds Apart, and we're going to try it out. Dave's going to host it. We're going to play it, and I'm probably going to regret it later. So, but I'm excited about this game, and we might do what do they call it? An unboxing? I haven't opened my packs yet, so we might unbox my packs in some future episode there. I heard one of you giggling when I said that by accident. I don't know which one of you said it. James, I see you laughing there. So make sure support our friends, our new sponsors, DoctorWho-WorldsApart.com. And we want to thank everybody for joining us today. My name's Christian Basil. For those of you just joining us anywhere you're looking, watching, unbox yourself. Oh, shut up. Unbox yourself there. Welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. We are here with Arthur Amy Hale, Nick Tockert, who knows a sword or two out there, James Instell from the Geek to Me Radio, Brian K. Morris of the Rising Tide Publications, and Dr. Free himself, Brian Barres. Brian, I'm going to start with you there. What was your selection as far as your favorite 9 moment, and why?
My favorite 9 moment was, well, we just talked about it a minute ago, Dalek. And there was a scene, a very particular scene in Dalek, where he's just told the Dalek, yeah, you know, I watched it happen, I made it happen. But then he turns around, and he's kind of walking away. And you could actually see in his face all the pain and the that tortured soul. Matter of fact, yeah, you nailed it perfectly right there. You can actually see the pain in his eyes.
Yeah.
You know, and all that. It was just such an amazingly acted moment by Chris Eccleston. You know, just facing this, thing, the very, very demon, that he fought in the Time War. It's just right. It's beyond words. It was such an excellent performance. Just that scene alone with the Dalek just took it all away. It just really nailed it. Plus, we had no, real knowledge. He mentioned about how his world had burned and all that. But up to this point, now we find out that not only did he wipe out the Daleks in that moment, but that was also the moment he wiped out his own people.
But
and
you
it's just, wow.
You can see in that moment between the two of them, they're the last of their kind. And now it's finally, I guess he's been running away from it for so long since he regenerated out of his war doctor into this doctor. But it is this moment with the revelation of the Dalek that it's finally caught up to him. And there's one out there. There's one left. And he's the only one. And then that moment where the Dalek goes, "We are the same." I'm like, oh, wow, that hurt. That totally hurt him. That really got him to where he was going. But instead of the doctor being merciful, what does he do? He throws a switch and zaps him.
Yeah.
I'm like, so the time war is not, the PTSD is catching up on him there. So everybody's thoughts on that particular moment, Dalek, and the moment of which I think, you know what, I have another moment that was kind of teetering on one of my favorite moments, but I'll explain in just a moment why I picked my moment. But what do you think that moment, the Dalek, that whole conversation, really, James? What do you think out there, brother?
No, that was so 9 was my introduction to the Doctor. I knew of Doctor Who, but when the episodes were on Netflix, I sat down and started going through them. So 9 was my introduction to the Doctor, and to see all this stuff, and I'd Google stuff. Well, what's a Dalek? I'd go back and look stuff up, and you're kind of seeing it for the first time through his eyes, and then the more they filled in, they did a great job filling in all the backstory. We find out more about the Time War and the War Doctor and what he went through. But I was blown away, and I said to my friend, I said, whoever this new David Tennant guy is who takes over better be pretty good to replace Chris Eccleston, because just the raw emotion, you could feel the emotions were just very fresh with him in each one of these episodes, that he's kind of going through all these things, as are a lot of people who this was, again, like me, their first Doctor.
I actually, when people ask me, when we did the episode, the starter kit, I actually put Dalek into the starter kit. When I say, here's your introduction to, here's your top 3 or top 5, Dalek kind of slides in there real easily. It is written by one of my favorite writers, Rob Sherman, who's written some Big Finish stuff, and some of my favorite Big Finish stuff. Rob Sherman's just brilliant. He's a brilliant guy.
Matter of fact, I can't recommend it enough while we're on this subject.
Yeah, go ahead.
This episode was loosely based off a Big Finish script he did called Jubilee. Yeah. And if you don't think Doctor Who can go dark, go listen to Jubilee with Colin Baker as the Doctor in that story. And like I said, Bob Shearman, like I said, I really wish he'd come back and done more episodes. I really wish he had.
I really don't know why they don't do it.
I don't know. I don't know if it's he doesn't want to do it, or if they haven't contacted him. I'm not sure what the story is, but as far as I know, this is the only one he's written for modern Doctor Who.
If you ever hear him do like monologues or takes on his stories when he's reading them at panels and stuff, this guy's brilliant. I'm just like, what? They haven't called you back? Seriously? I mean, he's somebody I think they should bring in to write for Jodie, and I think the episodes would turn around because he knew the passion of it, and I'm not going there. Everybody else's thoughts on the Dalek, and I mean, we could probably unpack that. That could be a whole episode right here. Yeah. But what would anybody have a take on on Dalek, between the Dalek and Christopher Eccleston? Let me put this before somebody answers. Brian, what would be the definitive moment between those two when they're talking? Since you picked this scene, what is the line that sticks out in your mind the most between those two?
When he first sees that Dalek, and this is one of the only times in the series, in all the series actually, there's very few times when you see the Doctor really, really scared. And when he first notices that this is a Dalek, the lights come up, boom, there it is. He literally turns around, he starts banging on the door, demanding to be let out. He is literally scared out of his mind.
Yeah.
And that right there, when an opponent does that to the Doctor, scares him witless, that's an opponent that really interests me. Something along the line like Sutek and all that, an opponent, or Omega back in the day. when a doctor faces an opponent that actually frightens the willies out of them, that's an opponent that really makes me stand up and notice.
But you also realize that he doesn't even know that he doesn't even have a weapon yet. He's just locked in a cement building, and he knows he's going to die. Had this weapon, had the Dalek been armed, and that's when the relief comes in, and he goes, powerless, the great dustbin.
Yeah, so, the great galactic dustbin. I love that line.
How's it feel? And now you see him throwing shade at that Dalek. It is gorgeous there. Christopher Chatfield, the Target novel by Robert Sherman comes out March 11th for Dalek. Yeah, I want to get that. I definitely want to get that. If I can get Rob to sign it, that would be awesome there. Dan Hadley from the Spacebook, please check him out over there and like him on his subscribe over to his YouTube channel. Just think lots more moments with 9 due to Big Finish coming soon. I can't wait. I seriously cannot wait until Big Finish comes out over there. Well, we got one. We got Jason. I'm sorry, we got James. James, what was it? James or no? James, did I get you yet?
Not yet.
Okay, James. Tell us the scene that you pick. I'm sorry.
So my very favorite episode in 9's run was Boomtown, and I feel like as I was messaging you, I said just the whole episode is my moment. It's like a Whitman Sampler's box of Doctor Who moments, and when you said boil it down to one for me, I think it's that moment when he decides, okay, you've done these things, we have to get you out of here, you can't be on Earth, and she says, if you take me back to Raxigo Pralifitorius, I have a death sentence there, and you will essentially be delivering me to my doom. And you see that kind of look go across Chris Eccleston's face, where he realizes, is this something, am I now an intergalactic police? Is this what I do? I'm taking her off of Earth, but is it my right to deliver her to her death? And you can kind of see that conflict within him.
Yeah.
And it almost, to me, reminded me a little bit, now that I've gone back and seen a bunch of other Doctor Who episodes, Tom Baker, when he's wondering, do I have the right? He's got the wires, he's getting ready to kill the Daleks, and it had that same moment when I looked back and go to 9's run now. There were just these moments that you can see, just in Boomtown, that's a little bit of Patrick Troughton there. Oh, that's Tom Baker right there. And you can kind of see him embodying them in just these little moments, which again is just the brilliance of both the writing, but of Chris Eccleston's portrayal of the Doctor. And he goes from this deep thought of, do I have the right to sentence this woman to her death? Then he goes out and has dinner with her, and he's very playfully avoiding her little death traps that she's trying to kill him with at dinner. And it's just, it's a charming episode, it's a thought-provoking episode, and it's just a lot of fun.
I'm actually going to do one better, because Melanie was going to be on tonight. Unfortunately, she couldn't come tonight. But I'm going to add on top of you, since you picked that scene, here was Melanie's choice.
Yes.
The dinner scene between 9 and Margaret, which I thought was brilliant writing. I thought Annette and Christopher played off each other very well. I mean, and you could watch that she was getting to him.
Yeah.
There were moments that only a killer would know that. What was that speech? It was just like, because you didn't kill somebody because the wind was right, or they cried, or something like that. And she just verbally backhands with, only a killer would know that. So I'm going to leave everything. So Melanie's choice and Jane's choice. What do you think? Because it's the same episode. Any thoughts on that scene between the dinner and also the scene where, 9 has to make that choice whether he can take her back to the planet, which ultimately something else happens and something better happens. Amy, you want to bring it up? You want to talk about it a little?
I think Christopher does such a great job about the inner struggle, which makes it more human and more relatable, I think, for us. Because despite the fact that he's the Doctor, he's not perfect. And he has these battles just like we do when we're trying to make these difficult decisions. And I love the way that he brings out that emotion. And even though sometimes it's really subtle, you still feel it. It still really hits you right here. And that's definitely one of those scenes where you can just see him struggle. Where is my place in all of this?
Right.
And I again, just another great moment. There's a lot of great moments.
Yeah, it's tough to even pick some of these. Well, speaking of great moments, does I think everybody's mentioned their moment, right? Everybody, Brian, you got your moment? Does anybody care to know mine?
Of course.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Please.
When we return from this commercial break, when we return, I'm going to give you my favorite moment, and then we're going to wrap up the discussion in the final segment of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Give me 1 moment of 9. When we return, please continue to please continue to stay logged on, tuned in. Hit the button, somebody.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Oh, brilliant! It's hard to believe that in the 56-year history of the greatest sci-fi television show in the English language, there... Right, let's get a shift on.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomicher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find The Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
This is The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Also catch us on the HWWS Web TV YouTube channel. Subscribe today and become part of the legend. Subscribe. Whoa! Whatever's going on out there.
Tech problems follow me. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm jittery. Okay. Wow. Sorry for those who are watching there, but yeah, please subscribe to the official YouTube channel. Just look up The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We're trying to get to 1,000. We are almost up to the halfway point, and wow. Okay, I'm going to get myself off there because, ooh, that's disturbing. Okay, that's more like it. That was kind of scary. And I do have. Okay, here's the picture from Mars. I have a picture from the Perseverance rover. No, that's the wrong picture. I am so sorry.
I'm sorry, but if I was running NASA, the first thing I would have done is stuck a big fat billboard there saying, "Don't drink the water."
The water. It's just right. And just for giggles, there's Richard Ashton. But no, here for real. Here is the picture from Mars that that I see. There it is. Wow. Oh, it's just gorgeous.
Wow. I know, 4K with sound. There was actually this clip going around with sound, and it's so weird hearing that sound, from another world. It's just wind, but hey, it's wind on another planet, man.
Oh, raging guys, have a great night, you and Nita there. And you know what? This proves one thing, that the BBC was right with all those rock quarries.
Yeah.
The Mars is a rock quarry.
They're pretty accurate. Yeah,
they were pretty darn accurate out there. Christian, what dimension are you in? Yeah, that's a good question, Russell. I have no idea, and I don't want to go back to that. Cindy Cab goes, I didn't mean to give you the jitters. Well, Cindy, it's going to take a lot more than that, because you are wonderful there. Welcome back to the final portion of the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS as we do our wrap up. Yeah, now I'm going to tell you my scene, but I want to introduce it just a little bit here. There's a reason why. Actually, Dalek was very, very close to it. Now, when it comes to the Doctor, I've always loved what I call the space god moment. The moment that the Doctor ascended and became the role. I'll explain to you why. It's happened with every Doctor. Well, okay, let me explain. The moments that the Doctor, when the actor and the Doctor became one, when you knew that everything started out there. Scenes like when David Tennant comes out and says to the Sycorax, "This planet is defended." That is what I call the space god moment when he's out there. When Matt Smith, and I think it was you, Nick Talk, who brought it up over here, yep. When he's standing there in front of the attractions and going, "I'm the Doctor, basically run." But that whole moment where he calls them back and he goes, "What were you going to blow up the planet? Get back here." It just goes to scold them. Those are the moments. Now, it took a while, but it didn't quite hit as well. It didn't hit me until Flatliner, when Peter Capaldi's Doctor says this plane of existence is defended. That's when I saw I'm the man who stops the monsters. When you saw through their acting the space god, the inner demon that is the Doctor, when the Doctor loses control and says, no. She's very close at times, so I haven't gotten it yet. I think the closest I've come with Jodie is the scene where in Revolution, when she pulls up the picture, the holographic image of the girl Dalek, and she turns to it and goes, "Now do that again in my face." Those are the moments that I see the Doctor hitting that. And for me, the moment was in Rose when he goes, "I am talking." And that whole scene was wonderful because he pulls out the anti-plastic and Rose just nonchalantly goes, "Well, dump your empty plastic and let's go." And the Doctor goes, "No, I'm going to give him a chance." We're seeing the Doctor through RTD's writing. We're seeing the way that he is. He's giving the monster chance. He just doesn't go in there and start killing. And then he says it was just insurance, just in case things went wrong. And there's that fun little banter between, he mentions the Shadow Proclamation. He's addressing this blob in this container, and it makes sense to him. And he's having this wonderful banter, and then he says those magical words, "I am talking." Don't give me stuff about constitutional rights and such. It's when I saw the Doctor finally in Christopher Eccleston. Not that I didn't see it, but I saw the space gods. I saw Colin Baker, Tom Baker, William Hartnell, Sylvester McCoy, Paul McGann, all of them just kind of get together. And it's in those moments that it's kind of the actor saying, "I'm the Doctor, let's go." It's that moment that I can pinpoint. So that's why I picked that moment. Now, everything in Dalek, yeah, I think that's pretty big. But what do you guys think of my take on that run out there? Give it a shot, Nick.
Okay, I think that's great because that's the moment, and the moment wherever it is, where you have to remember the Doctor isn't a person. Mm-hmm. I mean, it sounds so. It's real. We watch the Doctor. He loves humans. He looks like a human. He interacts with humans, and he does his level best, as though the character through the actor is trying to make us comfortable with his presence, and then suddenly, violently, with authority, he projects that I look like you, but I'm not one of you. Mm-hmm. Or I look like them, because it's usually to a third party. I look like them, but I am not one of them, and you know it. And it's that, it doesn't matter if it's an armada or a would-be god, he's putting it just in that place where leave me alone, you can do whatever you want. Mess with me, and I will utterly unmake you from time and space. Mm-hmm. I've done it before, I'll do it again. The Doctor, it actually harkens to later, much, much later, River Song talking about, you think the Doctor would come for me? The whole loving the Doctor is loving the stars, it's loving a supernova. And that's that little crack in the shell of false humanity while as much as I love him as the perfect version of what a human should be, trying to recognize the agency of others, everything. But when it cracks, it's like, or I can be the monster. If you want the monster, I can do that, but I'm going to feel horrible about it for the rest of time. So understand my reluctance, but at the same time, I will end you. And I can see that. I can see that being a very powerful moment, not necessarily as a Eccleston, but as any doctor. That's right. You brought me on your show. There you go. Anyway.
I hope that doesn't happen again.
Sorry, but every time I see every time I see Chris start doing that, it's like one of the moments we were younger. You had to reach up and smack the TV to get.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking for the vertical hold.
I need to get the rabbit ears going.
Control
there.
the vertical.
The horizontal, yes.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Unfortunately, we are at the final hour. And for those of you just joining us again, welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Where have you been? You can subscribe on our YouTube channel, please. And I just I want to, first of all, say goodbye to some of the Rising Tide. I know, Brian, you have a show coming up over here. For those of you who want to stick it out just a little bit further, we do have the half-hour after party, which will begin in just a few moments. But first, I want to give it over to Brian. I know you got a show coming up. Please tell everybody where they can find you, where they can follow you. No stalker mode. Not Cindy Cap.
I welcome them.
Lurker.
I welcome them. Yeah. No. Anyway, thank you, Christian, for having me on again. I appreciate it, and thank you to everyone on this panel. You've been amazing. And if anyone wants to follow me at risingtide.pub, or you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter. For next issue is coming out March 1st. We have motivation, inspiration, education in every issue, and a special video that only the subscribers will see. And also, we have a page on a couple pages on Facebook that are of interest. One is Rising Tide Publications, and the other one is the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, where you can see many of the great shows that are on this glorious little network of ours. I'm also on Facebook, kind of on Instagram, Twitter only a force to, Pinterest maybe, but otherwise just look for me wherever you do social media, especially YouTube. Please sign up for my YouTube channel too, and we're starting like I said, we've got a show right after this one at about an hour from now, and this Thursday we're starting a brand new show with me because I'm not on the air enough apparently, called Comic Book Spectrum, where we talk about comic books of the past, present, and future, and we're going to have a good time.
Gotcha. And everybody who's been joining us, we're going to have the after party. We'll stick around for half an hour for our Wizard World friends and for our friends on the Traveling TARDIS. Amy, Nick, Brian, James, if you want to stick around, you're more than welcome to. We're going to continue. I got a few more questions about Christopher Eccleston we'll take on for our friends who are watching it live. But our folks on the audio, thank you for joining us. We can't thank you enough. Please join us on our YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 1,000. And if you can help us out, we truly appreciate that. Again, please stay safe. Oh, you know what? Whenever you're here, Brian, I want you to end it. So can you bring us in, brother?
I can do it for you, man. I can do it. Thank you very much for the honor. Everyone, thank you for watching The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Tune in every time and become part of the legend. And as always, folks, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Thank you for joining us on The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
Brian, I know you need to go. If you need to go, go ahead there. This is for folks who just want to stick around. If you have any questions, you hadn't had a chance to, if you want to talk to any of our friends over at the Rising Tide Publications on the Entertainment Network, you can check out their stuff on their YouTube channel. Want to talk to James more about Geek to Me Radio, or a friend, Dr. Brian Barres, Dr. Freedom. You could be a doctor as well. Brian Barres, who does Dr. Freedom, who does the Doctor Who news on his YouTube channel. Check out all of our friends out here. Brian, if you need to leave, I got you. But
I think I will.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
You later, Brian.
All right. Take care, everyone.
There were a couple of scenes that I did not get to. I thought I had the picture there. One of the scenes that I thought would actually get it, have a good life. Have a good life, Rose. Oh. Yeah, I thought that would be one of them. What do you guys think of Have a Good Life?
It hurt.
It did hurt. Yeah.
I'm not going to call it a favorite. It didn't like hurt in an emotional way. It didn't hurt in a nice way. It was just like, no. that was where you drop walk out, pause. I'm out of the room. Done. Right piece. Fat guys can eat some chocolate. This is not going down. I'm sorry. That just.
You dive face first into the ice cream during that one, yeah.
Exactly. It's just like, no. Why would you do that? Why would you do that at all out there? Yet it is. I unfortunately don't remember the episode, and this is off the top of my head. But are you a killer or a coward? Oh, that's the
Parting of the Ways.
Parting of the Ways. Yeah, the last episode. Coward any day is a god tier Doctor Who moment for 9 or any Doctor. Yeah, that is a critical moment. He put the weapon together. He assembled it. Everybody dying around him while he tries to put this weapon together, and he's standing there like this, and doesn't do it.
That's made Eccleston better than the future ones, because I really believe if you took Matt Smith's Doctor, he would have made a smart remark and nuked it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, like Tennant would have raged in fury, half regenerated out of just raw anger, and done it. Eccleston he couldn't be the monster because he was too fresh from being the War Doctor. He just was tired of the killing. So yes, beautiful what makes Doctor Who right.
Got it there. I got to throw these in here just in case for our friends who are still on. And I forgot to do there in the show, but I want to make sure I got it out there. For our friends at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, we want to thank our friends at Wizard World. Please go to their Facebook page, facebook.com/Wizard World. We are very, very happy about our partnership with them. And we are actually simulcast live out there. And check out their merch shop at wizardworldvault.com. That's wizardworldvault.com there. What else am I saying? Yeah, I'm just going to keep pushing that YouTube channel. Just for my friends in the inner workings. It's what Michaela J would want. Anyway, say that aloud out there. Graham Krause, the quote that showed that the Doctor was the other, like Nick was talking about, smaller. The entire planet is hurling around the sun. Oh yeah, that
Rose.
Yeah, and Rose.
And that's why Eccleston was the only one who was capable of the recent Doctors for those tiny little moments, these little slivers of wonder and sort of magic. All the other ones were the great big demonstrations of power or brilliance. But during his thing, Eccleston would just pull out and whittle this little sort of slice. I don't know if that makes sense. But
no, it totally does. If I can expound on this,
please do.
Here, I think is a good example. If anybody wants to their take on it, the scene where 10 and Donna are with the Ood and they're trapped in the jail, and the Doctor can hear the Ood music as they're in pain. And he can hear the music. He can hear it going on, and it's killing him inside. And when he finally transfers that music over to Donna, she goes into tear mode. And I forgot what the phrase, the terms that we use or whatever he said, but something like, "I hear this all the time." And I was like, my God! I'm just like, I thought it harkened back to this line, because what he's saying is, I see things you don't. Look at everything. You're just standing here and you don't even know what's going on around you. But I can see the universe spin. I can see that this planet is spinning, and it's spinning around the sun. And if gravity were to go off, I'll be flying off of this planet like you have. But I think that's what was so great about that. Cindy kept in The Quiet Dead. He's so certain that he's got it all figured out. Then he realized he had it all wrong and has first admit, then correct it. But that scene where they're in the dungeon together and about to get killed too.
Yeah.
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 And then you betrayed us. You lied to us. And
plus, it was all the little things. Like I said, I keep telling people one of the greatest, well, not one of the greatest lines in Doctor Who, but I can't see anybody else pulling it off. Could you honestly see any other actor who's ever been in the role turn around and say a line like, would you mind not farting while I'm trying to say the word?
Yes.
That is
absurdity. And I think.
Go ahead, Dick. I'm sorry.
The absurdity of Eccleston's era felt natural. Whereas so much of the time, if you compare it with like Smith's absurdity, I'm going to, not to offend Brian, I'm going to wear a fez now because fezes are cool. Or I'm going to wear a Stetson because Stetsons are cool. Fish sticks and custard. He was always trying to reach fingers. Yeah. For the absurdity to help define the character. Whereas Eccleston simply, the absurdity was part of the water he swam through.
I think
so. Yeah,
Nisha Balchin from our friends at Diversity Geek, check them out on their Facebook page and their YouTube channel. Nisha says, "What a poignant moment!" And Rebels, or I guess that's reveals the constant influx of input, imagery, emotion that the Doctor experiences. Yes. I usually tell people today when I go to panels and stuff, and when it comes to the Doctor, you will see the Doctor with a pile of snot on the floor. He will bend down and have a full conversation with that snot. And he will find beauty and charm and grace when everybody's walking by going, you're talking to snot. And he will find compassion. He will find everything that is wonderful about the snot that we should be looking at, that he sees or she sees, and we kind of miss the marker. And those are things that I think were implemented definitely in Christopher Eccleston's time, a lot in David Tennant's time, some point in Matt Smith's time, kind of showed up once in a while in Peter's time, and then and some of it in Jodie's time. But when we can see outside the box, for a better term, of the police box, and see a different type of reality you would not even believe.
Plus, what I also love that reflected his personality, and it gets overlooked quite a bit, but I'm going to smack myself on the head because I can't remember who was in charge of wardrobe at the time. But what I loved most about Eccleston was not only was its personality, but the outfit they chose for his Doctor. It was just so plain, no nonsense. Tennant wore a suit. Matt Smith wore a type of, wore suits. Capaldi wore suits. With the, well, of course, Jodie Whittaker does not. So with the exception of Whittaker, everyone else wore these really, like suit wardrobe, but his was just that plain outfit with the black jacket and all that. It was just his very presence along with that. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know who made that choice for him, but it just really, helped amplify his performance as far as I'm concerned. That no-nonsense outfit.
Yeah.
But I think it also said, well, I don't give a crap. I've been through war. What difference does it make if I'm dressed up and look pretty like I did in my 6th life? I just went through war. I went through hell. I watched civilizations die, and you're worried about my dress sense? Here. Yeah. In fact, at one point where Rose is coming up there, and he goes, she looks at him and goes, "Did you change anything?" He goes, "I changed my jumper." It's just like, I don't care.
Yeah, he was all business. The others kind of are frivolous in different ways. Eccleston was he was there to take care of things. He was all business.
I want to put, I don't know, because I cross-reference things, but if you're familiar with Johnny Cash and why he was the Man in Black, that's what went through my mind, and why in person he was. Eccleston, as part of his PTSD, as part of the Doctor coming out of that, it's more of it's almost a uniform. It's not fun. It's not expressive. It's dour. He's still in mourning for Gallifrey. Mm-hmm. And he can't explain it to anyone because there's literally not a creature alive who can understand the emotional burden being who and what he is, and then being the last of what he is, represents. The whole Eccleston arc was very liminal. He was between what he was and what he became. Mm-hmm. And there's a magic in the fleetingness. It's very much dusk at the fog at dawn. He was something else. And the Doctor was something else during that time. And I think the fact that it was only one season where every other Doctor went much longer almost encapsulates it. It's like Eccleston was the Doctor's grieving period before he could move on and be something else. And it's incredibly bittersweet.
One of the things I liked about Rose, was it Cliff or Clive, the guy who did research on the Doctor, who had all those pictures that Rose came in and saw?
Yeah.
I think it was Clive.
Yeah, Clive.
Yeah.
And I was on other panels and we had a discussion about that, and I was looking very deep into why those three pictures were picked. I think it was Krakatoa, Titanic, and the JFK assassination. And I came up with a theory that the Doctor had just witnessed the ultimate tragedy of his race and the Daleks getting wiped out. Not only that, but the ultimate tragedy that war took on the universe. So when he came to pass, when he finally regenerated, my theory is that he went to look for other tragedies and see how things were, like the sinking of the Titanic. He pulled that family out before they sank. The explosion at Krakatoa and the JFK. He wanted to see other tragedies to get a handle on the moment. That's my theory on that. And I think,
makes sense.
And if that's the case, I can understand why this Doctor was the way he was in the dress sense. So if you I think he was still wearing the Doctor's jacket, wasn't he? Or am I wrong about that?
The War Doctor's jacket was a darker brown. It looked more militaristic and kind of fuzzy-ish. It had a texture, but he had an X uniform. Like he was almost used to wearing a military uniform, and and he got out of that, and he didn't know what to do, so he got one color, all of the same color, just wears it, right? Done, and
it was simplistic. But the other question that we came up with, and I couldn't even answer this question. It was really tough. If the War Doctor decided to drop the moniker of the Doctor, how did Nine pick it back up, and when did he pick it back up? And that was the only thing I could think of was those three pictures. Again, he's looking through tragedies and he's going like, you know what? I'm going to pick this name back up. I'm going to do it right. And I wish we had seen something that, and maybe we'll see it in the big finish.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
In between, when did he pick up that moniker? When did he finally become the Doctor again? Because you would think that he'd probably just keep it going and not call himself the Doctor, but he picked it back up. And there must have been a reason why. There must have been a moment that said, and I would think that he's going throughout all these tragedies throughout time, that he's going, okay, I can't run away from this. This is me. I got to pick up the promise. Hey, what do you think? I'm just putting it out there.
Or maybe he was hoping to see how we recovered from such tragedies. And
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
It could help with his own recovery. Yeah, I see where you're going with that. Yeah,
he's trying to get a handle on the moment. He can't.
Yeah.
Baker's speech in the Ark. I'm going to deep dive a bit, but bear with me.
Okay.
Where they find the Ark and he steps in and he's talked. I can't think of his companion's name right
Homo sapiens.
Homo sapiens.
The indomitable. And the Doctor has this. So think, after he's gone through the nightmare of everything he loved, everything that made his identity being taken apart and reduced, he went to the one source more indomitable than he is, the human spirit. So through time, he walked through our darkest hours, all of them fixed, because he couldn't stop them. And it was very careful if you look at it that. He didn't pick places. The Doctor shows up places to help. All those places, minimally, he couldn't help. He couldn't change the flow. So he was there to experience and understand and bear witness.
Exactly.
Because he's the only one left to bear witness. So part of the Doctor's job, his occupation for a time, was to bear witness of the tragedy so it's remembered when history forgets. That's what, the irony of the Doctor fresh from a funeral finding joy in a rose by any other name. Then going to taking her, where does he take her nearly immediately? The end of the earth.
Yeah.
To give her the perspective as best as he can, so that they can travel together
deep.
with a fundamental understanding of, you talk about what the Doctor can sense. He senses universal entropy every conscious and unconscious moment.
Mm-hmm.
So the literal dying of the light, the literal death of the universe is something constantly over, nearly a millennium he's been feeling, eating at his perception this whole time. That's why he's probably the most tragic, beautifully bittersweet character ever, because when all the stars blink out, when everything is darkness and it's cold and there's nothing left, the Doctor will be there. And if he can do nothing else, he can remember.
Amy, I'm going to give you the final word, and then we're going to wrap up.
I was just thinking, going back to his clothing, and it had occurred to me several times that it feels like he's trying to blend in. He doesn't want to stand out right now. He's observing, and he's healing, and he's grieving, and he's there to help. But like some of the some of the other doctors are a little more flamboyant, and they're kind of out there, and like with Matt Smith, he was like, "I'm a genius. Why is no one listening to me talk?"
Right.
It was kind of like the opposite. He was like, "I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to leave." And he was very much, and I always felt like his clothing was kind of a reflection of that. Of he just wanted to blend into the shadows, do what he needed to do, and keep going.
Got it. All right, folks. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up with everybody who's remaining here. For those of you who have joined us all this time, thank you so much. Next week, we'll have another episode. I have no idea what's going to be as usual, but we're going to be having a lot of fun and a lot of talking. I know our friends Melanie and Mark Muncie, they are recovering back from Sci-Fi Bartow, so hopefully we'll have them back next week. Last note, folks, Amy, start with ladies. Tell everybody where they can find you on the internet.
You can find me at authoramyhale.com. I'm on Facebook at author Amy Hale. If you want to find me on YouTube and see what we've got going on there, it's youtube.com/Amy Hale. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram and pretty much everywhere else at author Amy Hale. So I've got it pretty easy to find me anywhere that you're interested in checking out what I've got going on.
Gotcha. Mr. Talker, tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel as we wrap up.
My YouTube channel is the Historical Fencing Guild, where, at least until we can have practices again, every Friday night at 8, 7 Central, I do a live stream, and we talk about swords and fighting and how to adapt it if you have handicaps or injuries. You can find my book on Amazon.com or all my writings at Amazon.com/author/Nicholas Talkert. And as a preview to the folks who stuck around, I am actually the game designer of the Hybrids RPG, which is coming out from Terraform Comics sometime this spring. I'm not allowed to give you specific dates yet, and it's killing me. But follow terraform.comics.com to get more information on that. It's really kind of exciting.
Awesome. Brian, take us home. Dr. Freedom.
Okay, if you're on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, look for Dr. Freedom 1. You'll find me there. I'm also got the YouTube channel, of course, Dr. Freedom. Come by and visit. News at least once a week these days. I slowed things down a bit because of things going on, but we're still here. We're still broadcasting the news from in and around the universe, things you want to hear, people you want to see. Come on in and sit down with me for a while.
And everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've grown up just a little bit while we've been on. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. We're trying to get to 1,000 viewers. Thank you so much. Thank you, Wizard World. Thank you, both Brians, James, Amy, and Nicholas. Thank you for joining us tonight out there. And thank you for joining us. Please continue to stay safe and become part of the legend.